you gonna?
Hello.
Well, Alf will introduce himself. So, good morning, guys and girls.
Yep.
We are joined by Alf Lakin in Australia. Morning.
Good evening here and good
Yeah,
morning.
absolutely. So, before we get into our questions with Alf, we are brought to you today by
Precision Hydration.
the sweat experts. We've done it the wrong way around.
We have.
And the sports barista.
Coffee to conquer.
There we go, Alf. That's the awkward sponsorship bit out of the way. How are you doing this morning, this evening?
You've got to have sponsorship, believe me. You've got to have it.
No,
I'm pretty good. I had a fairly big day yesterday. I done a park run, plus I done a bit of track, and I went in some relay races on the track at our state championships just to fill up a team.
Nice.
Having not done it for 5 years, I felt it pretty tough. But I had a big nanny nap this afternoon, 2.5 hours. So I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah.
How did your teams get on?
Well, we won gold medals.
Oh, of course.
I won my age group in the park run, and then I went up and done the 2 relays. And my wife she competes with Masters Athletics, and she won 2 gold medals as well. So we've had a good day, family wise.
That's amazing. That's well good. Yeah. Have you got your medals with you?
I'll sing out to me. I'll show you. Can you get one of those medals? While she's getting it for me, I'll show it to you. You know, but wow. She trained pretty hard this morning. You know, but there it is. Can you see it?
Wow.
So cool.
Lift it up a bit, Alf. Nice.
So cool.
Look at that. I've never won a gold.
I never won gold.
I need one of those in my life. Amazing.
You don't get medals for winning the park run. You just get a good time. That's all.
Absolutely. So Alf is an astonishing triathlete, 80 years young.
Yes, that's right. 80 years. I turned 80 last September.
Amazing. So we've got some questions for Alf. Loren, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So tell us about you first before you got into triathlon. So tell us about you as an athlete. Specifically before you got into
most of my life I was in athletics, track and field. I started then when I was about probably 17, 18, and then for 20 years I done a bit of professional foot running. I didn't win any money, but I done professional foot running, mainly the middle distance. And then when I turned 40, I joined the Masters Athletics, which is all over the world, and I won a few Australian championships in that. So that's my background. And then 5 years ago, I thought I was in a gymnasium and they were starting up a tri class, and by an English lady too, actually. And that intrigued me a little bit. Couldn't swim 20 meters and I was drowning. And I never forget. And then when I got onto the bike the first time, I fell over, you know, because I hadn't ridden a bike for 60 odd years. So it was rather strange, but I loved it. I persevered with it and done my first triathlon, and since then, of course, I've been to 4 world championships. I've qualified to Australia in my age group. I'm always down the end of the field, but that doesn't matter. You know, my motto is that if I can start it and I can finish it, I've won.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Except for last year in Lucerne, I had a very bad accident off the bike and broke a shoulder. But after a couple of months, I got back onto it again. You know, nothing stops me. Yeah, the only thing that'll stop me is when they pronounce me dead.
Oh.
Other than that, nothing.
And the shoulder, that was where you spent time with Pieter, wasn't it?
You can probably see the bone still sticking out. Can you see it?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the doctors don't want to put it back in because I'll be out for a long time. So we're just leaving it as it doesn't give me any grief anyway, you know?
Yeah.
But it's always a good showpiece.
Absolutely. So me and Alf have a mutual contact, don't we, and Pieter?
Oh, yeah. Pieter. And when I was sitting in the medical room over there, and after I'd fallen over, Pieter come around, and as you know, he's a very good doctor, and he sat with me for quite a while, and he examined the bone and said, well, you'll be able to go home. The Swiss doctors wanted to throw me into hospital and do operations and God knows what, and I didn't have that kind of money, what they wanted to charge. But Pieter looked after me, put it in a sling, and after I got back, he kept in touch. But, Pieter spent a bit of time out here training, and he had a surgery here, and I used to train with Pieter up in the swimming pool up a Friday, and he's a nice guy, nice bloke, a bit like myself.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, a nice guy, yeah.
Definitely.
And what do you two do? You do triathlons too?
We do, yeah.
Haven't won any gold medals.
Haven't won any gold medals
for any
yet.
championships yet.
Not yet.
I tried a half Ironman in March this year. I got through the bike all right, to the swim, and it was my first time I ever swam 1,700 metres. And it took me 58 minutes. So from swimming, couldn't swim 20, I swim. But I got on the bike and it was a bit hilly and the wind was pretty heavy. And I got to about 55, 60K and I just couldn't go any further. So I didn't enjoy that, having to pull out of a race, because I'd run heaps of marathons over the years. But, maybe I'll give it another go. I don't know. I'll worry. My doctor, who is my biggest sponsor, said, no problem at all. It's up to me whether I want to do it again,
Yeah.
And that was a middle distance triathlon, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, a half Ironman.
Half Ironman, yeah.
Yeah, middle distance, all right, yeah.
And most of your world championships, are they in sprint? Is that a
sprint?
Distance? Yeah. Okay.
It's 7 meters and 20K on the bike and 5K run.
It's a big jump. It's a big jump to make, isn't it?
It is, but breaking records or stuff like that, it doesn't bother me. As I said before, as long as I start, finish, I am quite happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do get a lot of press over here, and I'm very lucky to have some very good sponsors who, because being on the age pension, which doesn't pay all that much, I don't know what England pays, but I know what Australia pays. And so that helps me get to world titles and compete in Australia, which is very good,
Yeah, definitely. And so did the inspiration for triathlon just come from seeing the tri session at the gym?
I was just in the gym, and Julie, Julie, who's a lady, she's a half Ironman, represented England in Ironman and everything, and I just walked over to her. I said, I want to do this, just like that, and that was it 5 years ago. And I left the track and field, just walked away from it after spending 50 plus years doing it, and that was it. But I found I can't run as fast as I used to, but that doesn't matter. I don't care anymore. I do what I enjoy. I love the training. And that same girl, Julie, came to my 80th birthday, and she's now training me now.
Nice.
So I have an English trainer, and I tell you what I have got. I have got a lot of English friends on Facebook.
You have, yeah. Well, this is it. So,
oh my God, Father.
So I can't remember. I think I found you on Facebook. I saw you in one of the Triathlon Nation or the Ironman Journey posts. And then I clicked on you because I thought that's pretty epic. And then I saw we had a mutual friend, Pieter McKeith. So I thought, I'll message. And then that's it. We've been friends ever since. But every time you post, you get hundreds and hundreds of likes. It's amazing.
Oh, well, I done the duathlon a couple of weeks ago and won my age group. I got 1,400 likes.
That's amazing.
1,400 likes, which was absolutely incredible. The races I done yesterday, as of about a half an hour ago, it's up to about 200. But most of those likes come overnight from England, which is amazing. So if you've got any good sponsors over there any good sponsors in England can bring me over?
Absolutely. Well, this is it.
Yeah, we'll
do what we can do. We'll see how many likes we can get on Facebook with you on, and we'll go from there. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I believe, and I look at a lot of your results, you don't have many 80-year-olds doing triathlons in England.
No. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? There's a Japanese, I think he's a Japanese guy that's just got the record for the oldest Ironman finisher.
Yeah.
And I think he was
85,
80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Those Japanese people, they can go forever.
Definitely.
He'd probably still be doing when he's 100.
Yeah.
You know, but there's only about one or two of us in Australia that in my age group now. But
Yeah.
no, I have no problem with sponsors, and which is good. My doctor's my biggest sponsor, so there's probably a reason behind that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very handy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
So, but anyway.
And so what would you say over the last 5 years since getting into triathlon, what would you say your highlights have been?
Representing Australia.
Yeah.
My first one was in Mexico, in Cozumel, in Mexico, and I remember the water was about 35 degrees. It was pretty hot. And the swim, because Cozumel is a big shipping place where all the ocean liners come in. And I remember the turnaround point was right beside one of those ocean liners, and you looked up and you couldn't see it. It was actually frightening. But I finished 7th in my first world title, so
it's all right.
Wow. Yeah, so I was pretty happy with that. And the other 2 or 3 times I've been in the middle of the field, which I'm happy about that, But to represent Australia, like you guys, that's a pretty good honour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can just enter. We've got to qualify. No matter how old we are, we've still got to do that qualifying race. So that's important. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you guys would have to do the same.
Yeah, not quite yet.
We're not quite at that standard yet.
We're not that good yet, but someday.
Yeah, we've just started our season here in Australia now, and the COVID has played a big, terrible part. But you guys over there is pretty bad.
Yeah. We're still.
I'm not sure if we handle things quite as well as Australia did.
Oh no, well Australia's number one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
When we were in Rotterdam, I'd never been to England, and so we spent a week in London, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved London, And if we go to the world titles this year, that's what I want to do, is come back and spend another week in London, But I've got a London coach. I've got a lot of London people, friends, English people.
Well, we'll pop up from Norwich.
Yeah,
we'll come see you.
We'll come visit, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And on the subject of COVID, how has that impacted your racing and training for 2020? I know, obviously,
we had no summer, no winter competition like duathlons.
Yeah.
It affected the training because, the pools were closed.
Yeah.
And although the weather's nice here, but in south, the water gets pretty cold, like over there, but not as cold as over there. But it did affect us. It affected a lot of people mentally. But being retired, it didn't affect me like that because I'm used to not having to go anywhere because when you haven't got to go to work or anything. So I feel I got through it okay. And we had a couple of small club triathlons and that's how we got through. But we're all back into training again now. And looking forward to the season. I got another triathlon in 2 weeks' time and see how I go. That's my first one for the major one, so we'll see how we go.
Nice.
What distance is the one in 2 weeks? Is it sprint?
It's at Raby Bay. It's what they call a super sprint. It's 400 metres, 15K, and I think it's a 5K run. Yeah.
Nice.
That's only a little fella.
So you're going to win that one probably?
Oh, of course I will.
I like the confidence.
Well, I always say, as long as I start and finish, but you always try to win the things. But if you can't win it, it's no big loss. A medal's a bonus, but no big loss. It doesn't matter. I move on to the next one.
Definitely.
Because at 80 years of age, there's not a lot of people at my age even doing anything.
Exactly.
Which is a shame, but that's life, isn't it?
It's better for you, though. It's good for you.
Yeah, well, I think 80. If you're 80 years of age, you should be able to do something. I mean, unless you're, unless you're really bad or really sick and can't just do anything. But you can do, people amaze me. They're in wheelchairs, they'll do something, and they're in wheelchairs. They've got handicaps, and they still get out there and do things. And I get impressed by that. And even old ones, of course, they still try and do something, and that's important.
Definitely.
If you stop, you freeze, and once you freeze, you're no good.
No.
At my age, not your two age, at my age. Talking about, yeah. Are you two husband and wife, or
Engaged?
Almost. We're getting there. So we
getting there? Oh, well,
we were meant to be getting married in February, but it's been pushed back a bit because of COVID. So we've had
whereabouts are you guys now?
So we're in Norwich. We're in Norwich at the moment. So about 2 hours from London.
All right, yeah. Well, fair enough. Yep. Yeah, Norwich. Is it cold? Of course it would be.
Yeah, it is freezing.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. It's pretty cold.
I'm sitting here, oh well. Anyway, so it's a little bit of me. And 2021. I've already qualified for the World Multisports in Almere in the Netherlands.
Nice.
So all I hope now is it goes ahead, because all airline planes are stopped in Australia. Our borders are closed, So we'll just see what happens,
Would that be a middle distance again, like a half Ironman? Yeah.
No. It's the duathlon World Championship.
Okay.
So I'll do a sprint duathlon and a standard. I'll do two of them.
Okay.
Wow.
And is that your main focus for 2021?
2021, yeah. Yeah, because we were supposed to go to Edmonton this year.
Yeah.
And of course that was cancelled, and I was looking forward to that because it would have been my first time in the 80 age group.
Wow.
So I could have done some damage.
That's it.
Not to worry, as long as we're all alive and healthy, that's the main thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And is there anything you've learned kind of sitting it as a triathlete today that you wish you'd known 5 years ago when you first got into the sport?
I'd have wished I'd have known 30 years ago, about triathlon, Now, I just think, the big thing is I find the people, the officials, the volunteers, the people, they all help you. I might be at the end of the field, but I'm getting the biggest clap, and the high fives and the things. And in track and field, you don't seem to get that. All the officials just want to stand around and, and disqualify you or something. And to me, without volunteers, you've got no competition anyway. So you've got to have volunteers. But the volunteers in triathlons are amazing. They stand on the road for 2 and 3 and 4 hours waiting for you to come round. And I think they're amazing, and the rules are not hard, but they're strong and they're good,
Yeah.
They look after us for safety reasons, and that's the main thing, except when you fall off the bike in Lucerne and break your shoulder.
Yeah, they weren't good.
No, they were there. They were there for me. They helped me back to the tent. So, And the funny part about it, my wife, she was waiting at the transition and she was worried that I hadn't turned up. I only fell about a couple of 100 meters, and she didn't know I was in the tent. She heard it from a person in Australia, because she heard this person in Australia was watching the live stream, and she heard my name come over. Is the wife of Alf Lakin around? Please report to the medical tent. And that's how she heard it.
No way.
And then she came out of the medical tent, and there I was, Pieter, looking after me. So Australia, not from England, Lucerne. Yeah, so that's amazing. That was a good story. So other than that, and we've got a cat. We've got a cat that loves triathlons too.
Oh, really?
Really?
Well, he's got to put up with me, and the poor old thing's about 16, and so he's got to put up. Oh, he's just walked behind me, But anyway, I think we're talking about animals. They're good things to have because they can calm you down.
Definitely.
Except when they want to be fed. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But our Australian season has just started, so I'm looking forward to the Australian Championships in sprint and duathlon.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
that's racing. It's good.
definitely.
Yeah. So, and then, well, I want to go to the World Championships. I was gonna, because they've split the world titles this year as far as the sprint and the standard distance. I think one's in Edmonton and one's in Bermuda, I think.
Wow.
And the following year's in Abu Dhabi. So if I'm still around, God bless, I'd like to go to there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the sponsors keep rolling in.
Yeah.
Great, yeah, great places to go and race.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it is an expensive sport.
Yeah.
And I don't know how a lot of people do it, but I'm, as I said before, I'm very happy that I got some good sponsors behind me, and I look after them too. After I do a race, I notify them what I've done. I send photos, and I call it the Alf Lakin update, and they appreciate that. They know where. Once I get a video of this, I'll send that to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, feel free to name them. Who've you got? Who are your sponsors, Alf?
Who are my sponsors? Well, I got I just got I got Bloom Hearing, which is a hearing company in Australia.
Yeah.
I got a chemist with Doctors of Heart Health. I've got NX Sports. I got a car company. I've got what do you call a vitamin company. I've got a nutrition company. I've got a hearing company. And of course, you probably know this. Decathlon Sports is one of my biggest sponsors.
Absolutely. There
you know, all the gear I wear is from Decathlon.
Yeah.
I first seen them in Rotterdam 5 years ago, and I've seen them in Australia, and I just sent them a note, and they supply heaps of gear for me. There's no problem, which is great. But they're a great company, and they're worldwide, of course.
Yeah.
And then I've got a company, the pedal shop out here, who look after me as far as a couple of bikes. The one that I smashed up in Lucerne, when I got back, they give me another one, and
Nice.
and then about a month later, they rang me up and said, "Oh, your old bike's ready." And I thought, "Oh, they're going to take the new one back," but they didn't. So now I've got two of them. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, and matter of fact, my wife has decided to enter a triathlon in February in Australia, what they call a pink triathlon. It's only a very short distance because she's a track and field. So she's going to have a go at it too, and she'll get hooked. I know she will. She'll get hooked. She just said no in the background. Yeah, she'll get hooked.
So you're basically a professional triathlete.
Sorry, I'm what?
You're basically a professional triathlete now.
Funny you should say that, because that's what people call me. I'm a professional triathlete, which sounds funny when you see the real professionals. But I just love mixing with those guys. They're great to talk to, and they're not over the top. I've met the Brownlee brothers, and they're just good guys to talk to.
Yeah.
And when you're in a race and these young blokes, and you're sitting on 20, 22k an hour, and they're going past you at 40k an hour. Yeah, I try to get on the back of them and hang my hand on the back, but I can't. But you can hear them coming. You can hear the wheels zinging.
Yeah, you can, absolutely.
Wow. And they've got $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 bikes.
Yeah.
My bike's about $2,000 each, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, that's it. That's good.
One thing I used to use cleats, but I don't use cleats anymore because I just can't get out of them quick enough.
No.
I just use like a flat running shoe, it's easier to get out. Those cleats, I didn't like them. No.
And faster when you get off the bike to get into the run as well, I guess.
Yeah, well, for me it is,
Yeah,
for me it's since I didn't have any trouble getting off the bike, but I can get on the bike all right. But since Lucerne, it's only a mental thing. When I come to get off the bike, I lay the bike down and get off it. For someone, I don't want to get off the way I was trying to get off in Lucerne. Because that's when I fell. So it's only a mental thing. Doesn't worry me. I don't. It's some person said it doesn't matter how you get off the bike as long as you don't fall off it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
There's no rule to say you've got to get off this way or that way.
No.
As long as you get off.
Absolutely. Definitely.
That's right. Yeah. So other than that, my season's been pretty good so far. My whole life is good. you know, one day I know I'll have to go and meet me parents one day, but at this stage, I'm happy. I've got a lot of friends on Facebook, which, like, every time I put something on, there's 100 runs up within half an hour, you know, and 90% of them have never seen me, never met them.
No.
You know, I don't meet them. You know, maybe they don't want to meet me, but anyway, we're too far apart. I've got a few American friends. I mean, all they've been carrying on about is that Trump and Biden thing. So
yeah,
I don't listen to that. So it doesn't bother me.
no.
We've got enough problems. We've got enough problems with our politicians without them. Worry about them too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You've got Boris. Boris is all right, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's all right. He might be watching, so we better be careful.
I love you, Boris. Yeah, so that'll, yeah. Anyway, anything else? Or
I think we covered everything else, to be honest. Yeah.
Because you could probably, because I spent 40 years before I retired as a car salesman. So I've always been a pretty good talker.
Yeah.
So the funny part about it, I get people coming to me wanting me to get them sponsors, you know?
Yeah.
But I know if I'm getting a sponsor, it's for Alf Lakin, not for you.
Yeah, being friends with Alf means you get sponsors.
Yeah, well, that's probably right. If you want a sponsor, I'll get you one.
Yeah, you see.
Only in Australia, but no. I'd like to come over and come and do that triathlon.
If we can get 1,000 likes for this video, we'll be pretty happy with that. That's enough, you know.
I hope you do, mate. You know, I hope you do.
Absolutely. Alf, it's been great talking to you.
I appreciate the phone call, mate.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Maybe we'll catch up after your next big race next year.
Yeah. And if I can if I'm over there, and I'll let you know I come, we might get to have a cup of coffee or something.
Absolutely. And if you want to add us to the Alf Lakin update emails, we'll definitely post it out. And it'll be great to see you go.
I'll write that down. Update. There we go. I've written it down, and I'll be sending an update out this week, actually. So I'll do it. I'll send you one.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds good.
You better send me your email.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, we'll do that. Excellent. Alf, you look after yourself. Good luck with the rest of the year. Good luck.
Thank you very much, both of you. When you get married, congratulations for when you get married.
Thank you, Alf. Take care.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.